Coming in hot! Safe!
This is Dan from Action Figure Magic, and we have a Casey Jones from the Turtles of Grayskull. This is a Mattel collaboration crossover, say what you will, of Masters of the Universe and the Ninja Turtles. And here to help with our unboxing, we had Michelangelo as none other than the main character himself, He-Man. And our Casey Jones, I don't think is a character specific. I think he's just designed after the world of Masters of the Universe with his accessories and weapons. So he's got a ton of weapons in there, but it's Casey Jones. You would expect him to be fully loaded. We've got some amazing artwork on the front and back of the packaging. And these are the other characters in this particular wave. We have our Michelangelo, we have our Skeletor, and then we have Link from The Legend of Zelda, or so I presume. And there also appears to be a nice little mini comic in there, as per usual with these figures. However, it does look like the mini comic was glued to the back of the box, so it does look like a packaging error where it's kind of sliding out. So the only way to save it is to rip it. So I don't think there's any saving it. The paper that they use is incredibly thin, so since it's glued on there, it's gonna rip. I'm okay with just opening it up, reading through it, and then throwing it away. So I have all the other ones that came with all of my other Ninja Turtle figures that they did, Master of the Universe ones, Turtles of Grayskull, as well as my He-Man figures, but I never do anything other than I open them up, so it's not really a loss to me. I'm not a collector of these little comics. I think they're fun to flip through when you get them, but I could still do that with the ripped front and back, and these pages are also kind of glued together, so there is no saving that one. I'll try to read as much as possible. But the man of the hour, Casey Jones himself, this is the true excitement of this package. He comes with a nice little helmet mask instead of his hockey mask. And it looks like they went with the more cleaner features for this Casey Jones versus the more rugged look that we have seen sometimes. But it's going to be covered with a mask, kind of like Leo in The Man in the Iron Mask. Not the Turtle Leo, the DiCaprio kind. Taking a look at the figure, I am noticing some similarities between the Michelangelo, especially in the armbands on the wrist, and it does look like the actual sculpt of the arm. So I'm just going to do a quick comparison. It does look like the forearm and upper arm are the same. You could see similar bicep muscle definition on there. They do have different shoulder pads though. They both have turtle shells on them. And then we've got the classic colors of Casey Jones, this like mint limeish green. That is the accessories that he came with the original Playmates toy. So I'm glad they put that on there. That is a nice little nod to nostalgia. He's got the nice waist articulation. He's got his He-Man loincloth. He's got the pretty standard Mattel articulation with the elbows and the shoulders and the waist. And then it looks like on his back, he's got his two pegs to put on his back accessory. You could also probably put on a turtle shell if you felt so inclined. So what we're going to do is we are going to put his holster on there. That is, I believe, the original was a golf bag. So I'm assuming this is based off of the golf bag design. So it's kind of the Casey Jones. And then he's got a Thor's hammer that is got a pretty awesome skull on there. So this is not a sports weapon. The other ones will be more sports themed, but he comes with some real weapons and then some sports themed weapons. So all in all, this is a pretty nice mix of Masters of the Universe in addition to our Ninja Turtles. And here we have a fun hand accessory. It looks like it's a mix between a Fisto metal fist and a Jitsu metal chopping hand, because it kind of has the design of Fisto, but is in the shape of the chopping hand. And it looks like we could slide it on. He does have the open hand. I guess I could probably pop his hand off and kind of fit it further up the forearm, but I genuinely feel like you can keep his hand on in there, and then he is ready for high fives, but high five or beware, you are going to leave with an aching wrist after that. That looks awesome. That turns our Casey Jones into a much more Masters of the Universe looking feel. And then along with his mighty hammer, he's got a nice green glowing axe. Again, a lot of weapons and not a lot of sports accessories until we get to our nice spiked hockey stick. This is the weapon of our Casey Jones. This is a perfect mix of what Casey would use. and then what he would, use in Eternia. So this is perfect, and it also comes in that nice green color, similar to the axe. It's kind of glowing, it's magical, it's powerful, but it's that green that we would expect and hope for our Casey Jones. And in classic Casey style, all his weapons can fit right into his backpack. And then he's also got this weird looking staff thing. I don't want to say it's weird. I don't want to give the staff a complex, but it's kind of like a walking stick, not a weapon that you would necessarily put hand in hand with a Casey Jones. And then he's also got his sword that we took a look at. And on his back, you have a spot for, I believe it's going to be the staff because it doesn't quite fit into his bag. And then you could put the sword in there. So he only comes with one kind of sports weapon, which they could have probably swapped one out for like a baseball bat, but I think they wanted to lean more into the He-Man-esque accessories. So I'm very, very happy with those, and very, very glad he came with the hockey stick, because that is, with the hockey mask and the hockey stick, that is our Casey Jones. And this guy looks incredible. He can hold all of his weapons, but we forgot to arm him with one. So, of course, I think you could have guessed I'm going to display him with his hockey stick, because it's a no-brainer. And then he's got all his bladed weapons that he can just go to town if he gets into a fight that the hockey stick just isn't the right weapon for. And just thinking of how much this guy has on him, like the huge hands, the huge hockey stick, and the backpack, this guy has weight distribution all over him, and the fact that he can easily stand is actually pretty magical. So I gotta say, Mattel did it. And as I'm commending his balance, he topples over. But I gotta say, the fact that he can stand and is designed to do that, that is kind of hats off to our Mattel toy designers out there. I am in awe of this figure, and I've loved this line from the beginning. Like everything about the Turtles of Grayskull, from the quality, from the design of characters, it is perfection. And I was a little hesitant to get Casey Jones at first, but I am very happy I did, because I don't have the four turtles yet. I just have a Donatello and a Michelangelo. So typically I'll collect the four turtles first before I start getting some of the other characters, but I could just not pass up this Casey Jones, and you can see why. He is amazing. We've got our Mikey, we've got our Casey Jones. Pick him up if you get a chance. Thanks for watching.